Hey everybody, welcome to WASD 20. My name is Nate and this is D&D Short Swords. If you don't know what D&D Short Swords are, they are short, sharp, and pointed bits of tips and inspiration for your tabletop role-playing game for players and DMs alike. I try my best to make them unedited, so bear with me as I might be coughing and saying a lot. I'm actually sitting in an office that is covered in a thin layer of drywall dust because I've just started working on the partition wall over here that will actually make this an office. But anyway, on with the topic. The topic today is player characters who make a pact with an evil being, or to use the common phrase, selling their soul to the devil. And this one actually comes from a comment I got on a video recently from Ibrahim Mehdi, who says, "Might I ask you to do something about deals with devils and demons in D&D? You may ask, and I am going to oblige." So let's get on with this topic here. I had a few thoughts on this, 3 or 4 thoughts that I'll be sharing today, and I also definitely want to hear from you because I'm sure there's a lot of you who have experience using this sort of thing in your tabletop role-playing games as well. But the first thought I had is, for a player character, this might be something they do unknowingly, out of a bit of ignorance or naivete. Perhaps they are not quite sure of the nature of the being that they are pledging themselves to, that they are making a deal with. A good example of this is my character Garrick Brownleaf in the Dragon Grin campaign that I'm a part of. I'll put a link to session 1 right up there. It was really intense. Tim from Tabletop Terrors is a great DM, and it's been a really good collaborative effort working out this pact that Garrick has as a warlock. And in that session, he pledges himself to this being that he had come into contact with several times growing up as a boy in the forest outside his home, where he would play with his friends, pretending to be adventurers and all that stuff. And he came into contact with this very beautiful being who appeared as a female in the trees, almost like a dryad, a fey creature of some kind. He had spoken with her several times, and now, in a moment of need, she reaches out and offers him some help. And it's something that, he thought that she was beautiful. That she was alluring, and for all he knows, she could have been benevolent and good. And he finds out later that perhaps she's not as beautiful as he had thought. Anyway, no more spoilers on that. But another case that I see a player character pledging themselves to someone is not necessarily out of ignorance, but because they are faced with a hard choice. They are faced, for example, with preserving their own life. To save my life, I will do this. Or, even better, to save the life of another. It's out of love. It is out of right intention that they are doing this, maybe this thing that is probably not so good in the end, right? They are very aware, perhaps, that this is an evil being, and yet to save someone they love or to protect someone they love, they do this. And I think that can be a really interesting storytelling method there of someone who is doing something not so good for the greater good. And it can even be seen as an act of sacrifice on their part. Lastly, I want to say that, or not lastly, but thirdly, I want to say that sometimes this could be something they are doing not out of right intention. It could be something where the allure of what they stand to gain is so great, and it is out of maybe ambition or selfishness that they pledge themselves to an evil being. And I think a good example of this is Faust in the German legend, where Faust is this scholar who wants knowledge so badly. The allure of more knowledge and greater learning is so great that he sells his soul to a devil. And in that case, it's not seen as something he does, out of goodness, out of right intention. It is selfish. It's out of greed, really. And so that can also be something that you can experiment with in your tabletop role-playing games. I do want to say that a lot of this can make some people feel uncomfortable. D&D has a reputation, especially in the past, and unfortunately still today, as being something viewed by some people as of the devil. It is evil, or it is harmful in some way. And this might only increase that reputation. Other people just might not feel very comfortable with it. For some people, it might hit a little too close to home. And trust me, I completely understand that. And I do have some mixed feelings about it too, because of my faith background. But I do want to say that I think it can make for really good storytelling. And I think that one of the advantages of tabletop role-playing games is we get a chance to explore morality. We get a chance to to see the world as not so black and white, right and wrong, but that there are gray areas, that characters who are very good and can be very heroic can also have deep flaws, can even have these Achilles heels. And this can be one of those things. And so exploring morality in that way can be of great value, even for people of faith. Just go read C.S. Lewis's Screwtape Letters if you want an example of that. Anyway, I also want to say that, mechanically speaking, let's talk about how this can work mechanically speaking in a game of D&D or Pathfinder or something. I think it obviously works really well with warlocks, right? Warlocks are those who have made a pact with a being of power, and that's where their power comes from. Now they can cast spells mechanically, right? That's the way it works. A cleric could have this work pretty well too. A cleric is someone who serves a deity, and so that being you're pledging yourself to could be a deity, good or bad. Another one could be a paladin who makes an oath. They swear this oath, and that oath gives them their power. And so those are three that I could see working really well mechanically, but it doesn't have to work out all that well mechanically. It could just be a narrative thing where a player of any background, any class, any race could make this pact, and it's kind of up to the DM to work it out narratively, and it might not make that much of an impact mechanically speaking. So anyway, I'd love to hear from you guys. I'm sure you have some good thoughts on this, so leave those down below in the comments. Where have you encountered these sorts of things in your tabletop role-playing game? What stories do you have to share? Always love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this one, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and make sure you're subscribed. And I think that's it, everybody. Take care. You'll see me again very soon.